Brothers and sisters, generals, family, those who've been riding along with the brother, a righteous, divine generals out there, salute. And may that great divine just be in our life and keep us prospering and keeping us protected. As I always say, calling down that great protection from that great divine, Mama Nature, for ourselves and from ourselves, so we never ever become our own worst enemy, because we got to be in the business of generating generals out here. You know, we start out as a warrior, then as we go along in levels, however long it take in life, sometimes it could take a lifetime, as I like to say, but when we finally get there, we know when we know. And then that great divine, Mama Nature, promotes us to generals, like our ancestors are always and forever. Will honor thy ancestors who fought so very hard, far and near, brother and sister, for humanity and or culture. And I salute current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, I salute you and thank you, as well as thy ancestors. Again, far and near, could have been in our immediate family, those we held dear. May they rest in peace and in power. And if we are connected to that great divine, it is the best protection, because when we are, we know that the body may lay to rest, but that a righteous warrior spirit, general spirit, lives on. And it's living through many righteous warriors out here, whether we got a platform or not. Got a lot of righteous generals on fire out here. A lot of us are becoming more and more aware every day of the ways and sways of this so-called matrix. But how do we do this? By being connected, because the great divine and Mama Nature has the power. At the end of the day, I don't care what evil entities do, ways and sways of the world, as my son and I talked about. Lord Lamont, salute. And again, welcome back to a EBX and Lord Lamont show. And but for right now, another edition of EBX discussion, where sometimes I speak by oneself or my son, which my son Lord Lamont and I will be speaking Friday. I've been wanting to speak on some comedy. I said that before, but I think we're going to touch on some comedy. I already got some stuff written down, some stuff I've researched, and I just got to I'm looking for an underground, whether brother or sister, someone, because I always have a person on the thumbnail or banner that I give tribute to. And then we talk about other comedians and just discuss comedy and having a sense of humor overall. And I will give a salute to Alex Thomas, because I actually did my first comedy heavy hitter podcast. He was the first one I did, and I kind of gave him a tribute, and it's right here on my channel. And I did one on Chris Rock, True Brilliance, and the one with Alex Thomas was about laughter and just having a sense of humor. And I've been seeing some interviews with brother Alex Thomas here lately. I love his interviews, and his interviews are on Art of Dialogue, where they have some pretty good people on there, some really good interviews. So I've been enjoying those. So salute to Alex Thomas, is underground, and he's one of them that the industry couldn't get to. And there's a lot of us out here like that. So salute to him. So my son and I probably speak on him a little bit, and some other comedians. So that's what we'll probably speak on Friday. Because, you know, in this uptight world, this emotional world, the evil entities try to make it, we have to be careful. Every now and then, stop and laugh and have a little fun, you know, just to remind us that we're human. Brother, sister, family, in the world, online. So look for that. But when it's time to stand on business, got to be ready for that too. So let's get into it, brothers and sisters. As I said already, you know, divine connection is the best protection when we're connected. And people will probably say, well, how we only know as an individual, we only know if we're connected. I always say a little divine reflection of the past, those fires we blaze through, things that happen in our lives that we can't explain. Those are divine moments. That's our evidence. That's how we know. So we go deeper into those things, see why they happen. Because I don't go for coincidences anymore. When one is aligned, and anyone can have this power, anyone. It depends on how deep in depth one is in their soul. It always goes back to that. And but it's wonderful when we do, and we just flow, and we don't push, but we don't give up. We just flow like Mama Nature, you know, and above and beyond, like one's banner here. And on the thumbnail is the beautiful South Africa, and that's called a tabletop waterfall. I actually remember looking up parts of Africa, which is the most beautiful place on the planet. No matter how they try to hide the beautiful parts and make it look bad, it's out there now. And I don't care what people think. Like I said, I've never been to Africa, but from what I've studied, what I've learned from other reachers and teachers, brother and sister, salute. That's literally on African soil. And, I've seen the beauty for oneself. So, and it's beautiful. I said in the past, I made a podcast on, y'all know I be rhyming. Appreciate Mama Africa. And I went in, I don't like when people disrespect or talk down on Africa. It's okay to have our opinions, but keep it to yourself. Study the origins of Kemet, before we mock or talk about Africa, and see what happened, why some parts of Africa is the way it is, But as again, like I said, a lot of reachers and teachers, we know the deal now. So, but it's a beautiful place. It really is. So on the thumbnail, that's South Africa. And I've done little looping videos of Africa where it just shows it, but it just loops. And this was one of them. So I just captured it and wanted to use it for the thumbnail because I thought it was beautiful. It's called a tabletop waterfall. And you got to admit, it's beautiful. And it's on the thumbnail. And of course, on the banner, my son and I, we did a father and son discussion with this on the banner, but it represents looking above and beyond petty things, petty debates, small-minded thinking, lower base thinking. Again, I haven't always, thought like this. Experiences, lessons, listening, filtering out things we don't need in our subconscious so we can step into our higher conscious and go above and beyond like one's banner. So this is what this represents. As I said in the past, you always see on most thumbnails or banner, it'll either be nature or up in the sky, mountains, trees, above the city, because we got to keep our minds elevating. Now, again, it's okay to debate about relationships, and yes, because things had to get worked out, talk about, but there are major things going on outside these little bubbles that this so-called matrix will try to keep us in, thus social media. We can go above and beyond, distract the needed tools of social media, but don't let it consume us and have us where we're grounding out like a negative, like a positive and a negative on a battery, So we gotta be explorers in our mind, go back to how our ancestors were, the origins of Kemet. And if we've studied Kemet, we know what Kemet is. They call it Egypt, but the original name now, if I'm not mistaken, if I've done my research right now, because again, I don't like to give misinformation, but for what I've gathered and what I've researched and heard from other teachers, Kemet is what the original name was instead of Egypt. And some other amazing things that's wonderful about Egypt. My son and I was speaking on aliens on a podcast. It was Mama Nature, aliens, and survival skills. And we just kind of talked about some experiences, how we, some of us just have that in us. We'll find a way, even when the so-called weakest that be try to take stuff away from the public to make them beg. Like my son said, oh, please, master, please don't take us. Fuck that. Like I said, great divine, Mama Nature has the power. Overall, at the end of the day, can wipe all of us off this planet like it's nothing. But going back to the discussion my son and I had about aliens, and we spoke on different nationalities that have connected with aliens. I'd say quotation marks, allegedly, because everyone has their different theories on the aliens, as he and I spoke on. But I wish I would have emphasized more Egyptians connected with aliens, if they exist. And we named a few. It was Russians, Chinese, Indians. They say Indians communicated, and Egyptians. I think Egyptians were the first ones. And my son said they were Sumerians, if I'm not mistaken, and they were a carbon-based people. Far as I know, I had to do a little deeper research, but they were the first ones to connect. If there's an alien, whatever being out there, and we're talking about a righteous, powerful being that can move worlds, they were the first ones to connect. So in actuality, black people were the first ones to connect with that higher power that we're all giving this different labels and names for, Actually, a brother platform I listened to, he had an awesome depiction of God, and it was carbon based. So the real God was carbon based. This is coming from my son. He said that. And I've actually heard another brother say that we are carbon based people, thus melanin. So that's why we can connect to things that are way beyond some individuals understanding, other nationalities understanding. Like the research I said I did on melanin, and it's facts. Caucasian people have very little melanin, if any at all. That's why they have to go through the scientific way. They can't go the natural way. See, carbon-based people, thus melanated people, we don't need science. Things are just popping our spirit, but we have to be aligned with oneself. We can't be in low-based thinking and low vibrational things. Not that we're perfect, but when we're seeking, that great divine will move with us. When we finally understand what divine spiritual power is all about, not manipulating, because great divine will spank that ass. It might take time, but it will come. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And like I said, we are a carbon-based people, and Indians have melanin. I don't know how much Chinese have. I don't know how much Russians have, but for some reason or another, allegedly, they connect to aliens and things of that higher force. Chinese, my theory, as my son and I discussed, that's why Chinese are so far advanced, because they connect to aliens, so to speak, quote unquote, allegedly. And it almost makes sense because they are very advanced, and they've been this way for a while, even way before Americans they had things back then. So, that's just different theories, but some of it makes sense. They are very advanced and very organized. But when it comes down to the music, as I heard a brother say in a reel, it is so very true. When it comes down to the music and beats, all of it came from a carbon-based people, thus melanin. Rhythm, melody, music, that all stem from us. I don't care, rock and roll, country, all this, it all stemmed from a melanated brother and sister. It all started with the drum. But that's a whole nother podcast. But see, when we're deep thinkers, we're seekers. This the kind of information we'll run across. Some of it easy, some of it hard. But a lot of times it's facts as far as carbonated based people. Again, there was times I didn't think about these things. I didn't know about it. But we have to get into the core. That's why, in my opinion and theory, as my son Lord Lamont said, the things we're going into this next month, with the shutdown and the stamps and et cetera, it's a time for us to go back to our original selves. Thus, carbonated people, melanated brothers and sisters. But anyone that has a good heart, the common man, common woman, it's all up to us, or it's all up to you, how one thinks in that soul. Like my banner here, we have to go above and beyond these little petty spaces. This social media is just an information point. It's just something to express our experiences and share our experiences. That's how I look at it, a place of expression. And that's why I always say, as far as subscribers, those who view, they are leaders and teachers also. You are not followers. We ride along, because everybody got something they can bring to the table, whether it's small or big. It just depends on the individual, what we're looking for. And every now and then we're going to come into some hard truth, but it's good. Think of the hard things that a lot of us have plowed through before now. That's why a lot of us are standing firm on that divine righteous foundation. And you know why and how? Because that great divine, Mama Nature, has the power all day, every day. Divine connection is the best protection all day long. Not no book. We can be inspired by people, but we got to have our own thinking, our own centering mechanism, which comes deep within. Have meditation. I don't care what we think about meditation, prayer. It's all the same thing. It's getting to that divine spirit deep within. We got to stop debating on different ways of connecting to a divine spirit. Just do it. Whatever makes us whole and righteous, that's what we connect to, if it's helping us. But as many of us real philosophers say, brother or sister, we're all seeking the same thing, just to have peace and just to live and have stability and share to others. Because again, we got to be in the business of building generals via family, children, significant other, ourselves, and keep our eye on that divine, righteous sparrow. And I had some things that I wanted to share. Speaking of Mama Nature, and I did have a summary for my leaders and teachers with a student spirit. And I had something that I wanted to share. Two things I wanted to share. First thing, I connected with a squirrel the other day, and I got a video. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that video in the end screen. I still have it. A squirrel I had fed, but I haven't fed this squirrel actually since I made this video, and I'm gonna put it in the end screen. And it was a squirrel I had fed. I fed it a couple times, but I haven't fed it in I don't know how many months. Been a while. So ever since I fed that squirrel, and I've done a little research, and they say when you feed them, they remember you. They got good recognition after you feed them, and you can kind of bond with them. And a lot of times it's probably just for the, maybe because you're feeding them, but it's still kind of cool, I think. So, but I haven't fed this squirrel in a while, and I just happened to be going out to my car. This is one thing that happened. Went out to my car, I seen the squirrel, and I said to myself, and brothers and sisters, we should try this. We talk about nature and stuff. Some of us do this. Connect with nature. Just try it. So I said, you know what? Because a lot of times squirrels are so used to humans like stomping their foot at them, like, get out of here, or something like that. So I said to myself, I'm going to try something different. So I seen the squirrel, and it had picked up some bread or something somebody had dropped on the ground. And I seen it. I said, you know what? I'm going to speak to the squirrel just to see how it react. I just wanted to see, Mother Nature can be beautiful when we connect with it. It's around us, and it watches us all the time, and we pay it no mind. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I seen the squirrel, and I said, hey, buddy, what you doing? What you doing? And it started to run, but it stopped, and it still had the bread in his hand. And it stopped because I'm sure it was watching me, waiting to see what I was going to do. I said, hey, buddy, what you doing? What you doing, buddy? You eating the bread? So it stopped. It was eating the bread for a minute. I said, you eating your bread? So it ran a few inches, and it stopped again. It was at the corner of the building I stay in. It was at the corner. So it stopped, and it was still eating its bread. I said, what you doing? What you doing? And it ran around the corner of the building, and then it came back, and it peeked its head around the corner and just kind of looked at me a little bit and then ran off. I thought that was so unique. I thought it was so cool. So I wanted to share that. So I went even deeper, as a lot of us do. I've heard brothers and sisters, speak on going in deeper, on connecting with nature. It's wonderful. So I actually got a summary on, sometimes it could be the food, but after a while, like I said, I hadn't even fed that squirrel in a while, but it remembered. You know what I'm saying? Animals can be amazing, and they have good memory and recognition. I mean, I did a summary on I dove in deep on crows. They have very good recognition, and they can remember you from months ago, years. And I've spoke on that. It's crows that be in the tree that call at me every time I go to the van. Sometimes I speak to them. Hey, buddy, get on in the van, But I want to go into a little summary of squirrels, how they can connect. Now, again, it can be a human connection, or it could be because we're feeding them, but it's still amazing. And again, I'll put that video in the end screen. Okay, so let's go, leaders and teachers. Let's dive in deep how great Mama Nature and that great divine can just show us things sometimes. Yeah, I meant to rhyme. All right, let's go, leaders and teachers. Wild squirrels can form temporary bonds with humans, especially if fed, like I said, or raised by them, of course. But we talking about wild squirrels, when we haven't raised. And again, I hadn't fed this squirrel in months, and it remembered me, because it was sitting there eating this bread, like watching me, like, yeah, I remember you fed me. But let's continue. Recognizing and becoming comfortable with individual people. However, these bonds are not the same as deep attachments with domestic pets, and squirrels remain instinctively wild and independent. They can show recognition and comfort, but the relationship is largely driven by the association of the person with food. Yeah, well, of course, but you're still connecting with them. Like I said, I hadn't fed that squirrel in a while. I still remembered. Okay, how squirrels bond with humans. It's just a small little paragraph, kind of similar to what I just read. Recognition. Squirrels can learn to identify and remember specific people, especially those who fed them constantly, but I didn't feed the squirrel constantly. Only fed it once. So well, maybe twice, but that's like months ago. But and I think it's still that same squirrel because I see it running around my house or the building all the time. So I just thought that was unique, and that's just one form of nature. There's many things that are around us. If we just don't be paying attention as human beings, brothers and sisters. Nature sees us all day, every day. We just don't pay attention to it, and when we do, it's beautiful. It really is, and that's tapping into our deep higher conscience, and that's when we'll see things. Now, I want to give a little summary on inner calm. Now, this is I'm kind of reiterating it. I spoke on it before, but when we have a calm within, and we have silence and no chaos within our divine soul, that's when we'll see things, all right, things that will amaze us and pay attention. That's why you hear so many of us say, don't get lost in this rat race out here. Connect with, be one with nature and that great divine. Some amazing things will come along our path. All right. Increased well-being and peace of whole mind, not just peace of mind, our whole mind, body and soul. See, hear, and feel. Inner calm, a clear conscience brings peace and tranquility, even in difficult situations. This inner calm can mitigate the psychological effects of so-called stress. Yes. See, when we're thinking calm and we observe, and can take work, mastering one's emotions, and even in the so-called storms, we'll see things that'll put a smile on our face, that will rejuvenate us, that'll make us feel better. But we have to be in a space of paying attention to these things so we can heal ourselves, that we hear a lot of us say. Because I'll say 1,000 times, our immune system ties into everything we do, eat, feel, hear, see. It all ties in to our immune system. And just think about it. When something that we're happy about, how it make us feel. So when we see little signs in nature, synchronicities, deja vu, divine things in our dreams too, those are all mechanisms of that great divine. And Mama Nature is giving us signs that it's a higher force out there, a higher being that's way more powerful than this earth, and this social media and these little spaces. It's things that's tried, but again, we have to be in that space to see it, like that squirrel I seen. And so that was one thing that Mama Nature blew my way, so to speak. Great divine, Mama Nature has the power at the end of the day. And I got another something that was wonderful that happened that has to do with Mama Nature that I'm going to speak on when I come back from this hip hop break. So again, thank those that's been riding along and listening to music. And for myself, L'Oreal Lyrical, rest in peace and in power, and Lori Lamont. And also on the next podcast, I'm going to play Lori Lamont's music and my cousin L'Oreal Lyrical, because I haven't played their music in a while. Cause I told Lori Lamont he got songs he's made. He needs some new ones, but he got some music, and I'll play it for those who may not have heard it. And that'll be on the EBX and Lori Lamont show. We'll have Friday, father and son discussion with Lori Lamont. Yep. So look for that. And but I'm gonna get to this hip hop break, and I got some more interesting things that I want to speak on that has something to do with the great divine and that wonderful Mama Nature. Real talk. So it's beautiful. They have the power at the end of the day. Divine connection is the best protection. Real talk. And anyone that has experienced divine moments that we can't that you can't explain know what I'm talking about. There's something out there, we just don't see it. It sees us all day, every day. All right. So let me get to this hip hop break. Let me see. In the first song, let's see if I can remember. Let's see the first song. This computer don't be acting up. Sometimes the computer be acting up. And salute to my family, my divine family, my biological family, my divine children, my biological children. Salute. May that great divine be in our life. Keep us prospering. Those who listen, those who ride along, my general, salute. Man, stay with it. Great divine got us, All right. And I do got a little message from, I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Facebook here lately. I don't be on there really, but as I said, it's a little, in the corner of the computer, you can see the updates. And a sister friended me, and she had a unique name. And I go on people's pages not to be nosy, but just to observe. And she has said some interesting things on there. And she said, and she had a little message. She said, if you're not talking about deep in depth conversations on this page, don't even follow me. I thought that was dope. And she put the things that she liked to talk about, intellect, and she said aliens. That's like, wow, my son and I were speaking on that. See, we are spiritually connected in so many ways. If everybody would just get their asses on board. And I'm speaking to my carbonated, melanated brothers and sisters. I'm talking about the power. We just don't know the power we possess. I'm talking about righteous power, so. And I've had a lot of other friend requests that I really connect with and are really speaking empowerment. And man, so I thought that was dope. And she listed all the things she liked to speak on, and she wasn't provocative in her photos and all that. She was like she was real. So salute to sisters who are rooted in their divine spirituality, man, and being that goddess that great divine called them to be. Real talk. All this superficial shit they doing is beyond them. I always say, if sisters only knew the power they possess. Real talk. They the ones that started it all. Everything began with a sister. Real talk. So they're close to God. They create life. So don't get no closer to that than that. So, but sisters have to know this. And this is one of them sisters that knew herself. Again, salute to all sisters that know themselves, Even if you're in the beginning stages, you in the middle, if you on your way, you good. Yeah, but I like what she said. She said aliens, intellect, deep conversations. I like that. So I followed her right away. We ride along, though. I don't like that word follow, but I supported her immediately when I saw that, so. But I just wanted to share that and things about the squirrel. And I got one other amazing thing that I experienced, again, that has to do with Mama Nature. See, when we appreciate Mama Nature and that great divine spirit within ourselves, man, it'll show that appreciation right back. And I'm not just speaking. A lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, who are stable in one soul, we have experienced this. I'm sure we have. It's not just me. It don't mean that we're special. It's just that we're tapped in. And it's beautiful when great divine Mama Nature shares that power with us. But we have to be in the place of seeking it and knowing that we see and feel that power. And again, not manipulation or power over nothing or no one. It's just having the power within and deflecting all toxic things, person, place, or thing, if that's the case. All right? Because it's all about the mental health. And that's the next song. And the one after that is let that great divine take the wheel. Let that power do what it do. Stop trying to be God. That's what I hate too. We are not God. Let that great divine and Mama Nature do what it do and just flow. But it's all about the mental health. Be back after this.
To my generals, salute. Gotta wanna help yourself. Hey, 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 hey. It's all about the mental health. Brothers and sisters, gotta wanna help yourself. Hey, 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 hey. EBX, salute. I'm here to give insight and never go out this life without a fight. Don't give a damn, a man, what it look like. I keep on going, a must, I do right. So equipped the benefits of this life. I'm no longer a misfit, it feels nice. A good vibe on this song. One's calling the protection from the great divine song. Gotta wanna help yourself. Brothers and sisters, it's all about the mental health. Hey, 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 hey. Gotta wanna help yourself. Brothers and sisters, it's all about the mental health. Hey, 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 hey. I'm on the right lane, I must remain. And those that's righteous, thinking God, we not insane. A royal in our heart, don't need no fame. No time to waste, especially our brain. Stop fighting one another, or nothing will change. Saving your life, that is one aim. A mind, body, soul, it ain't no fucking game. We got no time for guilt, or no shame. And never be no fucking lame. Sun gon' shine, not always gon' rain. I stay away from stress and always remain. I watch for the elephant, mistakes is irrelevant. We gotta stay smart in this life and intelligent. Gotta wanna help yourself. Hey, 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 hey. It's all about the mental health. Brothers and sisters, gotta Hey, 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 hey. It's all about the mental health. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, gotta wanna help yourself. Hey, 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 hey. Always do a self-awareness check on ourselves and keep tabs on our family. That's what it's all about, brothers and sisters. That righteous, divine, mental health. Gotta wanna help yourself. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, salute.
Real talk. It's all about the mental health, brothers and sisters, at the end of the day. You know, that's the root of our righteous building. If our mental health ain't right, everything else will crumble. Again, I mean, many know this, but some tend to think they can do what they want to do and override gravity and override great divine and think, you know, and just willy-nilly free falling through life and don't care or no purpose. Danger, danger, danger. Man, that's a train wreck waiting to happen, you know. So we always got to remember, all of us gonna get old one day. So just buckle down and be the best of ourselves, and great will come. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But again, we got to be in that space to see that greatness, because it might not come the way we want it. And that relates back to Christians. I'm not a Christian. You know, the old saying goes, be careful what we pray for, you know, or wish for. I don't wish anyway, but that's why I say we might not get it the way we want it, you know. So we just got to be real with ourselves. Don't be in denial. And again, it's all about that mental health, you know, what we are in that core, if we can control oneself. Because again, I always reiterate, if there's no health conditions or health, you know, the medical conditions, something that's out of our control, but the best way we can, you know, being negative definitely ain't gonna help, because we know how negative things can make us feel, depression and all that kind of stuff. We get bogged down with things like that or anything of that nature. We won't search inside ourselves for solutions, because we all go through storms or challenges. But it's not about the challenges we go through. It's how we deal with that challenge, you know, and refuse to give in to not living, because man, you can go your whole life and not live, and that's crazy, real talk. So we want to live and love and have joy in our life, but it all starts at the mental health. All right, the next song is "We Let That Great Divine Take the Wheel on Some Things." You know, we in the space of seeing, we'll see those signs, you know. And again, many of us have blazed through divine fires. We know, you know, we just, like I said, let the ways and sways of these parasites, of these so-called weakest that be, let them do what the fuck they do. And we do what we do. But for one, again, as my son and I discussed, Mama Nature and that great divine is trying to get us to go back to our original selves, how we were even before civilization, when we were pure at heart, carbonated, melanated brothers and sisters, because that's where all the great power and the riches and royalty stem from, because I've done research on that too. I got to do a little more. The most wealthiest beings that ever lived in this life and on this, or talented or creative or inventive on this planet, were black. That's facts. Carbonated based people. And though they were the first ones to connect with alien life forms, you know, allegedly, you know. So I just want to put emphasis on that, because we didn't really touch on that, because I want to make sure I give my black people their due. You know, we got to stop. We hear this word black. I don't know what it is about. Everybody gets weird when they hear people talk black empowerment. I don't know what that shit is. It's like they fear that word black. I like the word black. I think it's powerful. It's bold, you know. So, but guess what? Light comes from the dark, as I heard from a great brother. So again, that goes back to everything stems from a carbonated, melanated brother and sister. And it's up to others. It's not up to us for others to find power in themselves and see what the truth is. It's up to them. It's not up to us. You know, we didn't start the fight, but you can damn sure believe we gonna finish it as generals, warriors out here. We talking about spiritually. We ain't talking about violence, you know, because again, think of, now this is alleged. Think of my son said they were Sumerians, which were carbonated based people. They didn't use violence. They had power. They had things that was above a power. That's what I want us to have as brothers and sisters. A power that's above primitive weapons. You know, only a coward needs a primitive weapon or a violence or something like that and don't want to use their mind. That's an ego thing. That's a narcissistic thing. As I love to say, we as carbonated people, we were not born with narcissism. We were infected with it, as well as the common man and the common woman. Ponder that. All right. So we be the powerful generals we are, and we let that great divine take the wheel. So anybody being petty and superficial, I feel sorry for you. You're missing out. You're wasting time. When we can be some powerful beings out here, brother, sister, family, in the world, online. I'm talking about a righteous power. But we got to let that great divine and Mama Nature take the wheel. Be back after this.
Yeah, EBX, yeah, that's the freaking deal in this life. Gotta keep it real, brothers and sisters, divine, take the wheel. Yeah, that's the freaking deal. That's the freaking deal. Divine, take the wheel. Hey, that's the freaking deal. A great divine, take the wheel. I'ma do what I gotta do. I'm trying to make it through. Cause I want us to win. A man never lose. I'm staying here, man. I gotta keep this ground. And I keep on doing this, kicking this positive sound. I'm sending love unto all my family. My children, those struggling in these streets. And keep on pushing forward, and God has got our back. And gotta be positive and never ever slack. For my black people, I put them on the top shelf. I try to reach out to those men that need help. And gotta keep it real. That's the freaking deal, man. I give all the power to that divine. Take the wheel. That's the freaking deal. That's the freaking deal. And let divine take the wheel. Brothers and sisters, that's the freaking deal. Great divine, please take the fucking wheel. Man, don't mean to curse, but forgive my God. But keep me going, don't never let me stop. And I love the bottom, mother F the top. And I keep on rocking right through this hip hop. I keep on seeing through, the devil never get me. No, I'm never confused, gotta have clarity. All up in our brain, I gotta watch our children and never go insane. Divine, take the wheel. And that's the freaking deal. Hey, take the freaking wheel. Great divine. And that's the freaking wheel. And that's the deal. I gotta keep it real. I keep on doing this, never having no fear. Want all of us to make it and never ever quit. Let the great divine man take the wheel. And be the true to oneself and keep it real. Cause that's the freaking deal. Hey, great divine, take the wheel. I gotta keep it real, brothers and sisters.
Real talk. Yeah, man. Let that great divine take the wheel all day, every day. All right, let's get back to the Joe. And I do got one little small summary I'm going to break down. Then I got something interesting that I want to share that I think those of you that ride along with the brother would find kind of interesting. And you just amazed. It's just like, again, when we have an inner calm about oneself and we're focused and not chaotic within, some amazing things will come about, So, and I'm going to kind of show a little example of that. Okay, after I get to the mojo. All right. Now, again, another situation. It's always when I'm walking out to my car. I don't know. But I was walking out, well, to my van, actually. I was walking out to my van, and the wind was blowing, because sometimes in the Milltown, it can be pretty windy. And a paper was blowing in the wind. And it was actually something that someone had wrote. And I was like, wow, amazing. And it just happened to be blowing right towards me. That's why I said Mama Nature. I was going to show evidence of Mama Nature. And like I said, I don't do coincidences. And this paper just happened to be blowing the wind right where I could see it. And it was weird. So I'm going to read. And I stay across the street from a school. So probably, a student or something dropped it or whatever. But I thought I would read it because I thought it was interesting. Just amazing. I'm telling you, there is a higher power out there. When we connect to it, it is wonderful. It's beautiful. Divine connection, best protection. And divine connection can open up things in us that we never knew we had as far as finding our greatness, but we got to dig in. We got to go deep underneath all the crap we have accumulated over the years. Some of us just don't know how much, I got to say it like that, how much shit we got buried in our core. I've been through that. One has to go through that filtering process to see amazing things, to connect to divine and that mama nature. So this is an example of things that just come along, and the person that wrote this, they were pretty intelligent and they were having some deep thoughts. So this is what I read. This was blowing in the wind. Somebody else dropped. Okay. Now I'm gonna read it. Some of it I can read and some of it I may not. So forgive me if I fumble it. But again, this was just a piece of paper that was blowing in the wind on the way to my car. And I thought of, like, again, I don't do coincidences. So I want to share this with my like-minded generals who ride along with the brothers. Salute. So let's go. Which part of McCann's, that's somebody's name, but I'm gonna read it. Which part of McCann's 6-8 do you, I don't know what that means, but it's get pretty deep. Do you find hard out to live life? Okay. Which part of mechanics? Okay, I'm gonna go down. Do you find it hard out to live? Do you find it hard to live out life? Okay, that's what it says. Forgive me for fumbling. Please forgive me. Remember I said it'd be kind of hard to read because it was all crinkled up and it was blowing in the wind. Okay, and they wrote it in pencil. Do you find it hard to live out? You find it hard to live. Basically is what they're saying, to live out. Being loving, kindness, or walking humility with God. Okay. Do you find it hard to live out being loving? Okay. Do you find it hard to live out being loving, having kindness, walking with humility with God? This person is asking a question. What do you think its challenges for you? What do you think? Why do you think it's challenging for you now? So basically this person is asking, why is it challenging to walk in kindness and love with God? That's what this person wrote at the top of the page, right? For you, why is it challenging for you now? For those who may be having a challenge with it. And I guess this person was. Remember, this is a letter that was blown in the wind. It was all crinkled up. Okay. Do justice, kindness, and love, is it the hardest thing because it's hard to show kindness and love every day? It's challenging for me today because I'm a nice person with a one mean soul, with one mean soul, or something like that. Do you? Okay. So like a person because it's divided. It's like somebody was asking a question and then they answered it at the bottom. It's like, what do you find challenging about having? Why is it challenging having kindness, walking with love, humiliation with God? Why do you think it's challenging right now? And then at the bottom it says, justice, kindness, and love makes it the hardest. Yep. Makes it hard. Is a hard thing because it's hard to show kindness and love. Yep. Every day. And it can be. It's challenging for me today because I'm a nice person with a fun, mean soul. Yeah. So this person was going through some deep thoughts. And forgive me for fumbling that. Hope you got something out of that. But it just shows you what people be having in their mind sometimes. People we don't even imagine. This is a student. So this student was a deep thinker. I'm pretty sure it had to have been a student, the way it's written, and it was blowing in the wind. And again, I stay across the street from a school. I rhyme. A friend and again. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. And this was just blowing in the wind. I was on my way to my van, and it just happened to blow up. It was like right by my leg, and I reached down, and some just told me to reach down and grab it. So I kept it, and I meant to share this with my son on the last discussion we had, because that's when I found it. It was last Friday. Yeah. So those are some amazing things. Again, it was blowing in the wind. That's what Mother Nature blew in the wind my way. As I said a little while ago, if we only knew the divine connection, I'm talking about deep connection, not just human connection. I'm talking about spiritual, over a global connection. If we only knew the connection we had. And that person probably was carbonated. And I had never met him, never seen him, but they definitely had a spiritual connection. And they were in deep thought, if you can understand what I was reading in that. Again, it was kind of crinkled up and hard to read. But I'm going to keep that. And I told a story one time when I gave this homeless guy $5 twice. And it's always when I'm going to my van. I don't know what it is. Again, going to my van. And I gave the guy $5. I seen him twice, and I gave it to him again. And I don't know if he dropped the 5 or whatever happened, but like 2 or 3 weeks later, I found that same $5 laying in the very spot that guy was standing in. It was a homeless guy that he was standing in. And I still have that $5, and it was all dirty and stuff. So that was another thing they had to do with nature. So it's just little amazing things like that, like the squirrel and the crows, and it's wonderful. It makes you want to get deeper into it. So again, I'm gonna put that the video with the squirrel. It actually shows me. I'm showing the camera through the door because I didn't want to scare it off. But I'm gonna put that in the end screen, and it's that same squirrel that I seen yesterday. Yep, and I thought it was kind of cool. The squirrel was like, it was kind of communicating with me a little bit, but it was kind of hesitant, But I thought the coolest thing is when it went around the building and it peeked his head. Imagine a little squirrel, you're standing at the building at the corner of it, and it goes around, you don't see him no more. And just imagine a little bitty head peeking around the corner just for a few seconds to look at you and then runs off. I started laughing. I just thought it was cool, like interaction with children. It was that type of feeling. It was that kind of a frequency. I always said the connecting with Mama Nature and children has the same frequency. It just gives you that, put a smile on your face, when you're connecting, especially when you're connecting with the youth and the generation, and they get something out of what you're teaching them, and they incorporate it into their lives. That's the most beautiful thing in the world. I mean, in adults too, but children especially, because as we say, it's a lot of things coming down the pike, and so again, we gotta be in the business of building generals, and that especially go for this next generation. But be thankful for our adults that are standing upright, our brothers and sisters in our families, in the world, online, that are being warriors out here and not caught up in this so-called matrix. Because the weakest that be, they're falling. They really are. They're falling. That's why one thing, as we know, when something or someone is very desperate, they're gonna pull all stops to distract anything or everything from the truth. So they're falling. They're the ones in debt, because as I said in the past, the bankers rule the world. I bring up that analogy from George Carlin, rest in peace. Give a man a gun, he'll rob a bank. Give a man a bank, he'll rule the world. So ponder that. So this government, Congress, politicians, presidents, all of them, they have to answer the bankers, because they the one that run shit. Most people don't think about that though. That's why I don't support banks. I hate banks with a passion. I don't like them. I've had bad experiences with banks, and also they burned down Black Wall Street. They don't want us to have our own fucking banks, but they want us to support their banks. So fuck them and their banks. How about that? And I ain't had a bank account in 45 years, and I'm loving it. It's so refreshing and empowering, to know that one can control one's money, So people can give in to this digital shit and buy everything online if they want. I'll buy something if I need it, but I don't do everything online, as well as posting and all that shit. I've graduated from social media and the superficial part of this world a long time ago. So we got to get back to our original selves. What this time we're in right now, Great Divine Mama Nature is trying to show us, and come out even powerful. And because if we get our space as the public brothers and sisters in the world online, if we can get ourselves in a space with this punk ass system where we don't need them, they'll collapse. If it's nothing they can do anymore, I always said if we turn our back on evil entities, parasites will begin to fight amongst themselves, which they're doing, but we can't let, the addiction of them and being comfortable with them and used to getting stuff with them and all that. It's time to let that shit go and find another way, and we'll feel better. As I discussed with my son, Lord Lamont, Great Divine didn't say it was gonna be easy. Of course, we had to go through some kind of storm, but guess what? The sun will shine. The sun will come through them clouds, especially when we cling to Mama Nature. I would say is learn as much about Mama Nature and growing our food and having our own land as much as we can. Real talk. So just learn. That's the best advice I can give. Learn as much as we can. Learn about ourselves. Go deeper. Get away from this surface shit. And be the powerful goddess and goddesses that we always have been. We just got to take that power back. A lot of things have been thrown out in front of us, distracted us for decades upon decades. But that time is coming to an end. Real talk. And because if a Black Street come back, Black Wall Street come back around, they won't be able to stop this one. It'd be totally different because we're not as vulnerable as they were back then. And I think about that. It makes me sad and mad. Real talk. So. But that was some things I wanted to share about Great Divine. Mama Nature has that power overall. I don't give a damn who got what, who say what. I don't give a shit. That's who has the power and the say at the end of the day. Great Divine, Mama Nature, in that universe. That's what makes everything move, flow naturally. Not no damn human being, especially a toxic one, evil one. So again, if we don't know now, we'll never know. So. Thank those for coming in to another edition of EBX Discussion and/or EBX and Lord Lamont Show. Again, we'll be speaking Friday, and I do think I want to speak on some comedy, and I'll be volunteering tomorrow, which is Wednesday at my son's school. I got to speak with him. I haven't seen him in a little while. There's always something trying to draw a wedge when you're in your right, when you're trying to be righteous, but that's expected. Expect the unexpected, not being paranoid, just aware and sharp as we generals are. So thank those for coming in and riding along and supporting the brother, as well as my son, Lord Lamont. Brother, sister, family, those who are the current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, may that Great Divine be in our life and just keep us prospering. And stick with that divine spirit, study divine things, go deeper into oneself, get away from this social media shit and these debates about relationships and all that. Get back to ourselves, find a way to connect, because it's good to discuss relationships and things, but don't stay on it too long. Focus on the things that are important, our immune system, our well-being, and then teaching it to others via children, family, significant other, brothers and sisters in the world, online. So that's what I want. The same things I want for me, I want for others, as well as family and children. Generals, that's what we got to surround ourselves by. Be an ally. As I said, I don't have no enemies. If I have any enemies, they made it them. They became an enemy themselves. I didn't make them an enemy. So I'm an ally, to anyone who's righteous in their soul and fighting for justice, And I'm not talking about violence, spiritually. Again, go back to Kemet. Go back to our carbonated Sumerians. If I said that right, they connected to some things that, man, it takes some really, really deep core connection for us to connect to. Some of us are, So be thankful for the warriors out there in our families, in the world, and online. So stay great, my divine warriors, can't stop a divine warrior, Great Divine, Mama Nature has the power at the end of the day. And I got to tell you, and many of us already know this, so this is just confirmation. I'm just a messenger. But again, I send that protection for myself, from that Great Divine, Mama Nature, for my family, children, brothers and sisters in the world, online. We're going to be all right. Those who are aware and on point and know what it is in this old punk ass matrix, we know what it is. And you know why? Because that Great Divine is the best, man. Divine connection, man. Man, it just, man, I love it, but again, it could take a lifetime, but it don't have to, again, we run across synchronicities like the squirrel thing I was talking about, the note flying in the wind. I don't do coincidences, brothers and sisters. Great divine, Mama Nature has the power all day, every day. And I'm telling you, out of all the connections we have in this life, a great divine connection is the best protection. Salute.